Hi there guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to start off by apologising for the lack of content over the last couple of weeks. Although I had a bit of a break from racing, my life off the track just got a little bit crazy. I had a lot of errands to run, a lot of things to do, and we also had a bit of a small break in Scotland as well, going up to see my family and things like that. So it's one of them things where I'm getting round to it when I can. I'm doing my best, but unfortunately over the last couple of weeks I couldn't really find time to record these videos, but I am going to get everything recorded today. So if you're watching the next video, the Fuji video, and I'm still wearing the same clothes, that's why. It's not a case of me not washing, not changing clothes. I'm just going to bulk record everything today. I've got Jeddah in 2 days as of recording this video, and things are looking good. So yeah, with that, I'll stop yapping on and we'll get into the content and have a look at Hockenheim and see how it went. So then, into qualifying for the quarter-final. We were the very last car to go, so we had a really long wait, which is always tough to contend with, and here you can see, yeah, a little bit of a lift on the exit, so we're not starting the lap off quite as well as we'd want. But into turn number one, a little bit safe, didn't catch the curve quite right, had to have a little bit of a lift on the exit. And into turn two, knew I had to push it quite tough, or quite hard, sorry, on the entry. It was quite tough to sort of nail the first sector in here, very, very tricky. And yeah, our first sector's not great. But yeah, Hockenheim, it's been on the calendar obviously since the very start of ESL R1, or Rennsport R1 as it's known now. And it's always been a circuit that's just sort of been epitomised by turn one. It's just one of them corners that takes full commitment, but when you've got to lay everything on the line, it's really, really tricky to get right. And you can see at the top left, Joshua Rogers, Matt Emery and Nicholas Matteo all with slowdowns, I'm assuming from turn one. I don't know exactly where. It's quite easy to get an off track and this right hander coming up and towards the last sector, but 9 times out of 10 it will be in turn number one. So middle sector, very strong, a low zero. It's right where you want to be with the Aston. Just sector one was a little bit slow, and then last sector, the first right was a little bit safe. But apart from that, it's looking pretty good at this point here to go somewhere in the top four. It's quite tight between Dom and Jeffrey. If we can hop in between them, that would be ideal. But yeah, the last sector, a little bit safe, as we do a 1-2-2, and that puts us P4. So target sectors generally are sort of a low zero sector 1, a low zero middle sector, and anything in the 0.9s in the last sector. So we've lost about a 10th sector 1 and about a 10th last sector really to what would be expected. So yeah, P4 on the grid. Let's go forward to the race. Here we go then for race number 1. Jakub Masiewski on pole, a very good lap for him. I believe Falcons were in need of some points, as I think Tatala had a qualifying ban for this round. It was quite a while ago, so if I do forget anything, that's that is why. So need to keep the car at around 90 kilometers an hour for the start, which we've done, and we're tucked up right behind Jeffrey. Dom gets a slightly better start than us, as in towards turn number 1 on the outside. Big hit from Kaike, gets a little bit loose, have to take the off track, which isn't ideal, as we were going to be sort of battling with track limits all race long. I decided to take the gap on the outside just to prevent Kaike from sort of jamming one up the inside, and it should keep us close to Dom as well, so we've got a nice strong bit of slipstream, as Kaike and Yuri behind are side by side, so that's good. It gives us a bit of breathing room. But into this hairpin, we've got to keep half an eye on the rear view mirrors. If they are battling, then someone's going to brake late and try and it could go badly wrong, trying to make a move and crash through the side of, as it's happened many times over the years. The Hockenheim hairpin's always a hot spot for incidents. But thankfully we got through safe, and at this point here we're going to kind of settle in. And the job right now is to just keep the pace up, as there was a massive crash behind from, I think Jimmy went up the inside of turn number 8 and crashed through the side of Yuri and a few others, and that's now given us a 1 second gap out back. So at this point here, yeah, the job is stay in the draft, manage the off tracks, try and just get through turn 1 as cleanly as we can, and just manage the race from here. We're basically guaranteed a top 4. If we can get an opportunity to snatch a podium, then we'll take it, but overtaking is tricky around here. Skipping forward then, straight to the last lap. As you can see by the gaps, not a whole lot has happened. Hockenheim, always tough to overtake, always battling dirt air in the last sector and with turn 1. And yeah, I think not a huge amount really happened. There was no real side by side, it was just a sort of management race. Yeah, as I said earlier, managing the tyres a little bit, managing the track limits primarily. And yeah, we had, I think, 3 invalidations this race, so 3 off tracks out of a total 5. The 6th one will get you a 5-second penalty, so you get 5 for free. We used up 3, and that was kind of that. Thibaut behind had pretty decent pace, but it was quite evident that the Porsche it was quite evident that the Porsche and the BMW had much better race pace than us. We thought we were in pretty good shape coming in, judging off the bop times that were hit and the pace that we had in practice, but when we got into these actual races we noticed that it was possible to match them and go quicker than them, but you had to drive literally perfectly to do that. If you were driving at sort of, you know, a good level, like a sort of average good for us, then it would be a bit of a struggle to sort of match them. I think the Mercedes we were slightly better than in hindsight, but not by much. So yeah, our qualifying pace is okay, but the race pace does seem to be a bit of a struggle early on. A 0.87 from Wrightville on the last lap, which is pretty strong. Obviously, situations change, but yeah, there's the top 6. I'll put the results up on screen now, and we move through to the semi-final. Not a huge amount of points scored for P4, but it is a decent amount. It's still good. So let's move on to the semi-final and see how we get on. Here we are then in semi-final number 2. This is the restarted server. In the first semi-final we had a bug where Primislav was driving down the straight after the hairpin and was just hitting an invisible texture. We've never seen anything like that before. Didn't even know it existed. But for some reason that one session he was just hitting invisible walls. I'll put a replay up on screen after my qualifying lap of what that actually looked like. It was quite funny. Obviously not for him, as he hurt. I think he said he hurt his hand a little bit, just with the way that the wheel sort of snapped out of his hands when he hit it, because obviously you're not expecting it. So anyway, moving on, we managed to sort of keep our head in the game during the restart, and we do a 0.8 sector 1, which is better than what we did in quarterfinals. Very positive. Anything in the zeros in the one-shot quali, you know, it stands you in good stead for a good lap. If you do a 0.1 sector 1, then you've really got to take a few risks in the rest of the lap to try and get yourself up near the front. So this middle sector's looking pretty tidy, no real big moments. A little bit hesitant through there, didn't get as much of that inside curb through 10 as I would have wanted. But middle sector 0.7, not great, but it's in the ballpark. It's we're still tracking, I think, 100th quicker than we did in the quarterfinals, but this last sector is looking a fair bit better so far. Just had a little bit more confidence. Once you get that first quali out the way, you can sort of get a feel for how you're performing on the day, and those last 2 corners are quite tidy. As we come to the line, Ferris Stanley on provisional pole on a 2.4, and we do a 1.26 and 9.7 last sector. Pulled one out the bag there. I think my PB in the last sector before the race was like a 9.4, and so to get 300s off my PB in that sector is yeah, really positive. So yeah, heart was pumping a fair bit there. We've got a lot of really quick guys to come. We've got Collins, Benica, Reitveld, Siggy, Blyer. There's so many fast guys in this race. It is absolutely stacked. But you know, a low 0.1, that stands in really good stead, so let's see where we end up in qualifying. At the end of qualifying then, Siggy on pole with a 36.09, a really, really strong lap from him. It would have taken something special for me to beat that. Maybe, yeah, obviously there's a good bit of time in the middle sector compared to what I did in the quarterfinals, but he's on pole with 0.94. Me and Max Benecke on identical lap times on a 1.26. So that was clutch for me to get second place there. It could have been really close, as yeah, even half a tenth loss would have put me down in P6. So yeah, really, really positive. P2 on the grid. Let's see how we get on in the race. Here we are then for the race in semi-final 2. I'm having to use the official Rennsport replay as my personal one is crashing every single time I try to load it, which is fantastic. Yeah, not ideal. But goes green, we get a slightly better start than Siggy on the inside. And on the outside we try to hang it out there, we actually stay within track limits, which is not easy to do, but the inside line is too strong. I move to the inside just to try and defend from Max going up the inside, as I give Siggy a little bit of a nudge. And I managed to clear Benecke through turn 2, as he has a bit of an incident with, I don't actually know who, it might have been Reitveld, but there's, the relatives going absolutely crazy behind us, a monumental crash behind us, and we've got a 1.7 second gap behind. So I saw this as a perfect opportunity to really pile the pressure on Kevin. I know that he's got better race pace than me, be that the car or driver, probably a combination of both. Bit of column A, bit of column B. But you know, I knew it was tough to pass, so I was like, I've got an opportunity, I'm not going to be this close at any other point, so I might as well put some pressure on, see if we can get a move done on him. If we can get to the lead, you never know, we might be able to hold on to it. Use the dirt air and things like that to try and hold him back. But he does a really good job defending the inside line, and then there's not really much you can do on the outside there. Just not enough grip, or you know, from the surface or from the track or from the tires, sorry, to really carry that extra speed, still get the rotation and get the run off. It was always going to be a bit of a compromise for me to try and go around the outside there without sort of pinching him into the inside curb. And then, you know, when you're in a 1-2 position like this, there's no point in opening yourself up for penalties. You know, you can easily get a 1 second penalty or something like that for leaving insufficient room for racing. If I'd fully spun him out, then it could have been a 5 second penalty, which even now would still drop me out of the top 6. So yeah, had to be very conscious of calculated risk. It would have been easy to just sit there and take the P2, but I wanted to try. It was silly not to try and win the race, obviously. But yeah, not much you can do when the guy in front is defending as well as Siggy did there. So at this point, bit of a mistake from him, and I'm thinking, okay, he's not dropping me as quickly as I thought. But I know that the longer run pace is the concern. I've never really felt confident around Hockenheim and race pace. I've always struggled. I think there was one season where I was really, really quick here, and ever since then it's never quite clicked. The way that the car grips up, the way that the tyres come in, they do provide you with extra grip, but it just feels, I don't know, it just feels weird. At other tracks it fills me with more confidence. I feel more confident in race trim than I do in quali, but around here I just couldn't, I don't know, couldn't get a feel for it. And yeah, it was definitely weak compared to Dara. You know, the car was down a little bit in race pace, but the bigger issues were me. So past like lap 4, lap 5 is really where I started to struggle. And you can see on the delta behind Kaike is catching us at a rate of knots here. So it's not a guaranteed P2, but a guaranteed podium is looking quite likely. So we just got to get our head down, try and pump in some nice laps, and see where we end up. So skipping forward then to the final lap, and you can see the gap has increased. Ignore the relative at the bottom right saying Jeffrey Reitveld. I can assure you it's it's Kevin Siggy. I'm not sure why the delta is showing that, but yeah. Anyway, we move. So as you can see from the pace at the top left, you can see my struggles with race pace are continuing. Everyone behind us has got a 35.8 PB. I'm a 36.0. and I've been sort of sitting 36-0 the entire race, whereas guys have been getting gradually quicker and quicker. It's only until you get down to Shemishev. I don't know actually how he says his name. I always say Primishlev, but I assume that's not correct. But yeah, you can see he's at a 0.4 PB. He's the only one slower than me. Even the guys in P10 are actually lapping quicker than I am. So yeah, it's a bit of a concern heading into the final. Obviously really happy to get a P2. I believe Dara won his semi-final. So yeah, we're scoring really good points. Between the two of us. Obviously Misha and Vojta had a few struggles again. But yeah, that's going to happen. Like it's hard to just sort of drop into this series and be scoring points straight away. Like there's going to be a steep learning curve, and you know those guys are doing really well to sort of adjust things and learn every single week from what's going wrong and the mistakes that they're making, which is a really positive sign. You know, they've got the right mindset, they just need to put it into practice, which, you know, takes time. But for the meantime, Dara and I are doing more than enough to get us into Group A. Of course, this is the last round of the seeding stage, so really important that we get good points here, and we've done that. Last lap we managed a 9.7, which is a small glimmer of hope. We actually put together a somewhat okay lap, but still about a tenth away from where we need to be. So yeah, P2, Siggy picks up the win. Here we go then for the final and qualifying. A little bit of a lift on the exit coming onto the lap, so not the best way to start it. But in towards turn number 1, deep breath, calm the nerves, and that is a really nice T1. Had a little bit of a confidence lift on the exit, which in hindsight I didn't need to take, but yeah, we better safe than sorry. We just got to get a lap in. We know we'll be up near the front. T2, pretty tidy. And onto the straight. 0.6 sector 1. It's good. It's right where we need it to be. As we head down and towards the hairpin now at this point, taking a few deep breaths, just relax the grip on the wheel, don't death grip it. Just keep everything nice and relaxed, keep an empty head, and just try and time the downshift so that we get the good stopping power into the hairpin. That was pretty tidy as well. As Dara goes pole, provisional pole with a 0.83, it was the first one to go, which is always nice. You don't need to sort of sit there for a couple minutes just thinking, cooling down, and it's good to get straight in and keep going. As turn 8 through 9 and into 10, pretty tidy, nothing spectacular, but it gets the job done. As we do a 0.8 middle sector, and then into the last sector, we've got to push pretty hard here. That middle sector is gradually getting slower, as Bennett snatches provisional pole now with a 0.5. So 2.0s, which we hadn't really seen at all day, as far as I can recall. So the lap times have really taken a step up here in the final. As we come into the second last corner, we decide not to take the wide line, just play it safe, keep it nice and tight. We've got really good rotation, so really push the limit on the exit, the last corner, and across the line. We go 0.95, a 9.49 last sector. That really bailed us out there, and yeah, we're right there with Dara. I mean, in testing, if we were doing zeros in test races, we were happy with them, and to do that in the final with pressure is a really, really strong performance. So yeah, although we were the first 3 to go, we've all done 0.0s, we're expecting to be up near the front. Yeah, the lap times always do take a bit of a jump in the final, but we do expect the majority to be in the ones. As you can see, Kaike's next with the 1-1, so it's really, really close. There's only 300s between Dara and Kaike. So let's move on and see what the end results are. So there's your starting grid then. Bennett on pole with Dara second and me third. Maximilian Bennett with a 0.99, so there's 4 cars in the 0.0s, and you can see a 1.3, which yeah, I got pole with I got second in the semi-final with a 1.2. Dennis with basically the same lap time, 7th in the final, which is, yeah, absolutely insane. I believe Kevin Siggy he didn't get sold in there, he comes at a 1.68, which isn't even a bad lap, and he's P8. So that last sector that we hit really sort of put us right where we needed to be. The first sector was tidy, the middle sector wasn't. But that last sector, if we hadn't have nailed that there, we could have been down in P6, P7 and been right back in the meat grinder, as I like to call it. So yeah, feeling really good. Second and third on the grid, lined up for some really, really good points as we move into the race. Here we go then. Luke Bennett on pole with Dara in P2. Myself third and Maximilian Beneke in fourth. Let's see what we can do as the lights go green. Bennett a little bit slow to start, but Dara has gotten ahead of Bennett into T1. A little bit of contact there with Beneke as we hit the inside curve, but yeah, nothing doing there. But Max gets a huge run off the exit, plus a little bit of slipstream from Bennett. Sort of helped him out there. We tried to do what we can on the inside, but the track goes to the left for the next corner and Max gets the move done. So we're down into P4 at this point. Dara was told to let Bennett back past, as it would have been deemed a jump start if he didn't. You're not allowed to be ahead of the leader as it goes green, which Dara was. Here you can see he does go wide to let Bennett go, but there's a bit of contact on the exit and we get stuck middle 3 wide. We lift out to not spin Dara, and at this point there was a protest lodged against Dara for jumping the start and not conceding the position. Here he goes deep into T8. We have to go wide, and that ends up being to just go straight up the inside, and we've got nowhere to really go. We couldn't really go to the inside because it was all going to stack up there, so I elected to take the outside, and Enzo just bombed one up the inside. So yeah, not been a great start. Dara is under investigation as we speak, as there's a huge check up here and we all start crashing into each other. Yeah, we've dropped from 3rd to 5th, pretty poor start, and Dara's under investigation for a jump start. Now, although he did let Bennett go into the hairpin, he did move to the right hand side, which to the stewards made it look as if Dara was actually defending, which, you know, he wasn't. It wasn't a conscious defending move. You know, Dara went wide in the hairpin to let Bennett go, but then because there was contact on the exit and the move on the way into the hairpin, the stewards deemed that yeah, he didn't let him go, and a lasting advantage was gained. So Dara ended up getting I think it was a 5-second penalty. It might have been a 10-second penalty for the jump start. And yeah, so we're net P4 as it stands, with a hell of a lot of BMWs behind us. Dara and I are the only 2 non-BMWs in the top 7. So it's pretty clear to see that the BOP for this round wasn't the best. The Porsche was quick. I think it was just a little bit harder to get the time out of it compared to the BMW, which was quick and fairly predictable. So yeah, we are going to try and hang on as best we can, but it's not looking good so far. Here we are then on lap 7. The race pace so far has been better than the previous races. Yeah, we're sitting at sort of, well, the lap timer at the bottom left isn't really working, but here we've made a couple small mistakes and dropped back from Enzo a little bit as Siggy has a big dive up the inside, and we need to leave him the space, and I decided just to lift off and let him go. I could tell at this stage Siggy was going to get me at some point. I didn't want to keep on battling him and bring Keithley back into the mix as well. So yeah, it hurt a little bit. I know that we're still net P5, but yeah, it's really tough. Redline have 3 cars in the top 5. It's looking like a good day for them. They're going to guarantee themselves a position in Group A heading into the dynamic groups. I think at this stage we were okay. It was us and it was between us and Maus, and with Beneke and net P2, it's scoring them good points. But throughout the day, Dara and I had scored more, and it wouldn't have been enough to knock us out. So I think we're basically guaranteed Group A now, which is yeah, a really great result considering the struggles that Vojta and Misha have had. Dara and I have managed to piece together a couple good rounds in a row. Obviously with Dara's penalty it's not ideal, but the results that he had leading up to the final were huge. He banked a lot of points before then. So yeah, I had a bit of an average day. The Q lap in the final was probably the best lap I've ever hit. So that was a really big positive, but yeah, the race pace just wasn't there. So yeah, I think track limits wise, I think we have 1 to spare. I think we're on 5 now. So we need to, yeah, we really do need to pay attention to what we're doing and take it easy. And onto the final lap, you can see the gap to Siggy has increased quite dramatically here. We've got Kaiki only 0.4 behind, so we have got to keep our eye open for him. And you can see from the top left that our lap times have been really bad in this final. It was okay at the start. We started out a little bit stronger than we did before, but yeah, our first valid lap of the race is a 2:06, or our first valid PB, I should say. So it's not ideal. You can see the guys at the front are all doing 8s, 35 8s, 35 9s. So we're missing 2/10 a lap, 3/10 a lap almost, to the guys at the front, which just isn't good enough. It's not gonna stand you in good stead when you're 2/10 a lap off. So yeah, it's been a good day in qualifying, but a struggle in race pace. So something to try and analyse for when we come back here in the EWC, the Esports World Cup. Obviously, we're going to be racing here again when we go to LAN. So there's some changes that have to be made, some adjustments I need to figure out and improve on. But you know, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. Thankfully, at this track, race pace isn't the be-all end-all. You know, qualifying is a lot more important, as it is at most tracks, to be fair, but it's harder to pass here than it is at almost anywhere else. As we cross the line on the track, P6, overall result P5, as Dara manages an 8:20 on the last lap, which shows that the car was quick, but that was an insane lap from Dara, an absolutely insane lap. So yeah, the car was quick, it was just a heck of a lot more difficult than the BMW to extract the pace out of. And yeah, you can see at the top left, Dara's disappeared off the timing tower. I think it was a 10-second penalty, which drops him to the back. So yeah, P5 overall, and that is that. So guys, that is the that is the end of the Hockenheim round. As I say, we ended up in Group A for the dynamic groups, which is a really great result. Really happy with that, and you know, we're looking pretty good heading into Fuji. It's going to be hard to stay in Group A. Obviously, Kwanda and Redline have all 4 drivers that have experience besides Caruso for Porsche. Kwanda, he's a rookie coming in, but he's got some of the best guys to help get him up to speed. So we'll see how we go at Fuji. We're feeling pretty optimistic going into there. It was a good track for us in Bop, so let's see how we go. I just want to say a big thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything you guys would like to see extra or see done differently. And yeah, I will see you next week for Fuji. Thanks for watching.